Ryan Ham here, and what you see before you is good old-fashioned Russian engineering wrapped up in some hardcore, good old-fashioned German execution. This is a East German Makarov. I know the Russians pronounced it Makarov, but for the purposes of our video, we're going to be all American and call it Makarov. This is an East German model. See the fancy grips on it. Excellent, well-made gun, and I'll be doing a video on that probably eventually. Nothing really special about that, just the cream of the crop. What I am doing this video on is something that's not quite the cream of the crop, and this is a Baikal. It is a .380 caliber Makarov that is made in Russia, or the Russian Federation, and it is made for the commercial market. And one of the ways you can tell that is that it's got adjustable sights on there. Another way you can tell is it is in .380 caliber. Originally they were 9x18 Makarov. And what I'm going to do a video on here is the grips on this gun. Now you can see from my East German model that it's got some really nice fiber reinforced plastic grips. Maybe Bakelite, I'm not entirely sure, but they're outstanding, well designed, they fit the gun and everything like that. Well, this gun is missing its original commercial grips, and it has got this crappy, ill-fitted, poorly designed, poorly executed, squarish rubber grip that somebody made for the American market, thinking American consumers are fairly gullible. Yeah, we were fairly gullible. There's a better offering from Pierce out there, but this particular grip was not made for good service. It looks horrible. It doesn't look real. It doesn't look right to the gun. Fortunately, there's a company out there called Fab Defense. This is an Israeli-made grip that is designed to replace the junky grip you have there. And it has a couple of features on it, and we'll just get it right out and show you what those features are. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is that it doesn't look the same as the old grip. Obviously, it's not meant or designed to look the same. It's designed to fit the gun. Second thing you're going to notice is it's got a huge Beavertail on there, and that will prevent your hand from getting caught on the slide as it comes back. It also makes the gun a lot more comfortable. And another thing you'll notice is it's got a huge swell, a palm swell back here that does change significantly the shape of the grip, and it makes the gun point a little bit more like a modern gun, more like a Glock or even a 1911. The Makarov has quite the straight grip angle, which is not really a bad thing if that's all you've ever shot with, but to make it more American, I prefer a grip angle that's got a little bit more of a palm swell on there. Two other features: it's got this nice lanyard loop, so you could tie it to your belt or whatever with some paracord, and if you do drop the gun, then it'll still be with you. And the final feature is this. That is a magazine release, and it attaches through that little lug down there to the bottom of the grip mag release, the European style mag release on the Makarov, and it allows you to release the magazines by just pushing forward on that. That is a great feature, and I'll show you how to install that. It's a little bit tricky, and I do not suggest you do this yourself if you do not fully understand what I'm about to show you. Just so you know, they also offer this in a flat dark earth-ish color, and this flat dark earthish color is what's going to go on my East German Makarov, and I'll take that to the range and shoot it. This gun actually belongs to a friend. It was an inherited gun, and the grip is just awful on there. I'm sure that honoring his inheritance, he's not going to mind putting a better grip on it. And in addition, I'm also going to try and take some of this. It's got some rust on the side of that from improper storage. I'll just pull that off. It's mostly surface rust. It might have a few pits in there, but we'll make sure that isn't a problem anymore. Make the gun look a lot better, shoot a lot better. Well, let's get on it. I'm going to take this crappy grip off, and when I come back, I'll show you how to install the grip. Okay, we're going to dive a little bit into the features of this gun before I clean up underneath the grip and go any farther. The grip screw attaches to this it actually attaches to the frame, but there's a little spring keeper here, and then this multi-spring that acts as a magazine catch, as well as, I believe, a hammer and a safety, a hammer and a sear spring at the same time. Now you'll note that the original grip screw that came with that is not going to work. It's way too long. It's going to stick out the back. They do include a grip screw to use, so I'm going to go ahead and use that one. You can see not good, and then this one will be just fine. You can't just slip this grip on like any other grip because of the magazine release feature. This little projection here has got to go through the loop on the magazine release over here, and in order to do that, you can see that this has got some spring tension to it. It's a magazine release, so it's made to hold the magazine in with that little bit of spring tension there. So normally you'd push up or push back on the magazine release. Well, that's what this lever is going to allow you to do in just a second. In order to install it, you can see it does slip just right back into the rear of that. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to move the magazine catch, the old magazine catch, which again is just the end of this spring here. We're going to have to push it back and move it that way, and it actually does that pretty well. Okay, here we go. You have to pry the plastic apart slightly in order to get it on over the back. There we go. And as it comes up there, you're going to see that this magazine catch has got to go over that latch, and once it does, it should just pop right in there. There we go. Should just pop right in there, and we are good to go. Let's see if it works. See it moving there, and well, everything came together fairly well. Let's make sure the grip's all the way on. It's not. There we go. Okay. Lined up pretty well with the front there. Feels pretty good overall. Yeah. It seems like it gets out of the way where you're not gonna mind it being there too much. The magazine release, that is. Okay. So the screw in the back, and the included Allen wrench, hex wrench, whatever you want to call it. I don't think Mr. Allen cares anymore. And you don't want to get any kind of grip screw on super tight. You just want to tighten it until it's snug on there. Occasionally they'll loosen up, but the worst thing you can do is tighten it too far, because you're tightening plastic against steel, and you're likely to break something if you tighten it too far. So kind of looks like a new gun. You'll see the differences here in terms of what the rear of the grip shape looks like. Also how far the Beavertail goes back there. It does change where the thumb shelf is on here. You'll notice that the thumb will sit a little further down, but I mean overall I'm very enthusiastic about this, very happy about it. The projections on the side are about like a Glock Gen 3, Gen 4, that kind of thing. Not quite as aggressive as the Gen 4, but they don't offer as much front to back as they do up and down, which is kind of what you're going to need as the gun recoils, but I mean really these don't recoil that bad. Same along the back here, up and down, and then a little bit of side-to-side grip traction. I did take the lanyard loop off on this one. It's got a little C-clip that it's actually fairly easy to remove. You just put a flathead screwdriver against it and push it a little bit, and then it pops right off. Just don't lose that if you ever want to put it back on. It does kind of get in the way on my big hands, so I prefer not to have it on there. So, wow. I'm actually pretty excited about this. It's kind of nice. Let's check out the magazine release functionality here. Oh, and not only that, but not only does it work, but it drops free, and you don't have to fumble with your thumb down here. You can. Let me show you that. You can use the magazine release as designed too. So if you've got an issue with the manual of arms of pushing forward on the mag release to release it, well, there you go. There's your solution. You shouldn't. You should really, really enjoy this if you're an American and a human being. The Beavertail on that clears the slide by a little bit, and it does give you a good Beavertail. Probably better than the Glock, the regular Glock. Not quite as good as the Glock with the Beavertail, the Gen 4 Beavertail on it, but still pretty good. And it is functional now. I would be happy and proud to have that on my gun. This is Ryan Ham. If you enjoyed this video, there are more like it, and feel free to check out my other videos. Once again, it's Ryan Ham. I'll see you at the range.